This video is all about the Sigma 105 f1.4 art that you see here. Now this lens has been out for a little while, so yes, I'm going to give you my thoughts and a little bit of a hands-on review, but more importantly, I'm going to teach you how to best utilize this lens and focal length in this video. What's up guys, my name is Pi. Welcome to SR Lounge, where we give you no-nonsense education, tips, reviews from working professionals designed for everybody. So look, if you're looking for tons of technical jargon, this probably isn't the place for you. But I'm gonna tell you exactly what it's like to be in the field with the gear that we use, and specifically the 105 lens that you see here. So starting from the top, the Sigma 105 is not for the faint of heart. I mean, just starting with the price point, it's $1,600. Okay, so this is not necessarily a lens that you're buying strictly for the value of it. Granted, for what it does and for what the other price points of other lenses would be, it is still a value, but it's expensive at that. So $1,600, the other thing that we have to really buy into is the size and the weight. Now to put this into perspective right here, I have the 5D Mark IV with the Sigma 50 on it, as well as the 105 right here in my left hand. And from a weight standpoint, they're about the same. In fact, I think the lens might still be a little bit heavier. This guy weighs in at 3.6 pounds. And overall size and kind of shape, well, it really takes up about the same amount of space in our bag. This is also one of those lenses that if you're gonna mount to a tripod, you're mounting underneath the lens itself on the tripod bracket as opposed to from your camera. So as soon as you see that little beefy accessory and item, you kind of know that this thing is heavy, okay? That means that if you're worried about size and your arms getting tired and holding it up for long periods of time, this might not be the right choice for you. But if you can get past the size and weight, and if it's in the budget, then what we have is one of the best portrait lenses, period. And when you factor in the price point, it's one of the best portrait lenses of all time that I've ever used. That's a bold claim. I'm gonna back it up here. So first and foremost, I really like the length of this portrait lens when compared to an 85. Now, I am a fan of the 85. I shot in the 85 a ton. I still have my 85mm focal lengths. They come in f1.2 variants, 1.4, 1.8. You choose the best aperture that fits your budget, right? But the problem I've always had with that focal length, I just have so many images that are in this kind of 70mm up to, that 100mm range, right? So many of my shots fit in there, and the 85 is just nestled too close, where a 24-70 at 70mm is gonna give me that kind of closeness to that focal length. A 7200 crosses directly over it, but even at 70, it's very close. I just wish I had something a little more unique. And that's what this focal length gives us. Now let me show you what that does from a compositional standpoint, because this is where it matters, because it allows us to do things just a little bit better than the standard 85mm focal length. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some images. These are images from Incredible Engagements 2 that we're actually in the middle of filming right now. First, let's talk about layering and kind of compositional control, okay? One of my favorite compositional components is layering my subjects and shooting through things to kind of create depth and interest from foreground to subject to background. But this scene here is shot in this crappy, you'll see it in the behind the scenes footage, in this crappy little area where there's like a pathway behind them. So not only do I get control to really show exactly what I want to show in the scene, it gives me a lot of control to kind of crop things out. And I can keep what I have here, it still looks fine, but I opted for that square crop. But what I did here was I placed our male subject in front, I had him look towards the shadow side, I placed her directly in the highlight, and then I shot through, and then we crop it to this kind of square. and we're shooting at f4. This is one of those shots that usually when you're layering like this, you don't generally shoot at 1.4 because you're going to lose all detail, all definition in the foreground kind of elements. So just keep that in mind. If your foreground is just disappearing, just go ahead and stop it down a little bit. It's okay. Your lens isn't going to break by not shooting wide open, if you know what I mean. It's going to be fine. So that's this first thing that we can do with it. We get better control over layering and depth than we would with another focal length with like an 85 or anything else. Okay, next, what about control over other kind of compositional components, framing out other objects that we don't want to see? This is a perfect example of that, because when you see the behind the scenes footage for this scene, well, we're actually just shooting in a little strip of grass, and it's not even grass, I think it's like weeds, next to a parking lot, next to a busy street in downtown LA. Yet, this focal length is beautiful for cropping everything out and making it look as if our subjects are right in the middle of this gorgeous field. In reality, they're not. We're in the middle of LA throughout this entire thing. And I love that for this. We can get in tight without worrying about any distortion on the facial features. We can also stand back and just get this beautiful depth as we shoot through objects and have a really great fall off when it comes to the bokeh. Now these are indeed shot at f1.4, and if we zoom in, you can see just how freaking sharp these images are over that focal area. They're fantastic. They're great. You're gonna be fine. Throw away all those focus tests of, oh, my edges, are my edges? Who the freak is going in? Like, when was the last time in practice you were like, oh my gosh, that's a beautiful image. But wait, let me just check over here. No, those are soft. By the way, this is pretty sharp. No, I can't accept that image. Come on now. It's a fantastically sharp lens. You're gonna love it. All right, the next thing is perspective compression. Now this is created by having a focal length that allows you to stand back further as the lens basically brings you closer to the subject. And there's a bunch of videos online. It's not lens compression, it's perspective compression, blah, 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 blah. Yes, we know. In practice, it works the same way. So I'm just saying. But let's go ahead and show you this. I love this scene because there's just so much depth with the buildings that are falling behind our subjects. Now, this shot actually looks far more dangerous than it really is. They're standing in the middle of the crosswalk, and I'm actually shooting this as a composite. So these cars that are entering the frame, they're not necessarily occurring right when this is going on, So they have their right of way. They're in the middle of the crosswalk. I'm standing back in a dangerous spot. I'm just kidding. It's really not. Because behind me is a cul-de-sac, and you just have cars that kind of turn around and go out. It's all very slow paced. But you know what? If you got a problem with it, I have the best solution in the world. Don't do it. Just don't do it. You'll be fine. Again, you'll be fine. So I like this lens because, again, from this distance, we have that telephoto length compression, bringing everything kind of up, allowing us to use that perspective compression, really kind of showcase the entire background, and it has a beautiful look and depth and feel to it. Now here we're shooting at f7.1, but I could shoot this at f1.4 and still have depth in the shot, and it would look really cool as well. So just a little note there. Next, I want to talk about the bokeh aesthetic of this lens, because, we're going to be honest here. Bokeh is a little bit of an overused compositional technique. When I say a little bit, this is an understatement, okay? It's heavily overused. That being said, I'm a photographer and I still like bokeh, but there are plenty of other things that you can do to make your compositions interesting. But I'm also going to be honest and say if I'm buying this lens, that's a big deal to me. I kind of want to make sure that I have that. So it has that in spades. And as you can see, as the previous shots that we kind of went through right here, these look fantastic and beautiful. But here's another scene that really utilizes that depth. As we have our subjects leaning up against this wall, I'm shooting close to the wall, down the row, and you can just see everything back here gets smushed out. You can shoot this. There could be buildings in the background. You're not going to be able to see anything. You could have somebody in your backgrounds like driving by and flipping off the camera, and all you're gonna see is this round, beautiful smiley face in your camera. Smiley bokeh face. So it's a fantastic lens for this bokeh aesthetic, and you can even look closer at these. It has a really great look. I absolutely love the look. If you want to see the actual lens vignetting, I'm going to go ahead and just create a virtual copy of one of these images that is already processed, and I'll show you the lens vignetting. It's there and it's present. It's not over the top, and in fact, if you're like me, I actually love shooting with my lens characteristics. This is not one of those cases because I am framing them off to the side, but I love my lens characteristics. I love that this has character, and what I mean is it just, darkens the edges of the frame. So I'm going to reset this one out, and I'm just going to brighten it a little bit so you can kind of see. I'm shooting exposing to the left so we can retain all of our highlights or as much as possible. And what I had applied to this was just a Visual Flow Modern preset. This is a one-click preset that gets everything done and good to go. And when this video is released, the system's not yet released. It's coming soon. So just hold tight. But you can see if I go ahead and just click without vignette versus remove profile correction. So this is without vignette. This is removed altogether. So this is the natural vignette from the lens. This is without that vignette. So there is some vignetting present. I do like it as a characteristic, and I think that most of us that buy lenses like this are usually buying them for those characteristics they provide, and occasionally we're correcting them out of it. So look, if you love that buttery bokeh from an 85, I mean, this guy is gonna put out so much that it's gonna be like Nutella on a plain white bagel. Oh my gosh, I'm dying for some carbs right now. We're in the middle of a fitness challenge. I'm not even gonna get into it, but my kids do these Nutella bagels, and I just wanna, it's ridiculous. Anyway, this is like Nutella. If you like Nutella, you're gonna like the Sigma 105 Art. That's as simple as I can put it. Here are just a couple more tips when it comes to utilizing this lens. You're buying this lens primarily because it's a portrait lens. That's really what it's designed for. It's what it excels at. Can you use it for other things? Yes. But you take it to go and shoot sports, you're shooting your kid's soccer game, and you're gonna get annoyed because the focal system is not gonna be as fast as like a zoom lens, like a 7200. It's not even gonna be anywhere close. In addition, you're not gonna have the variability of that focal length with the prime, and you're gonna be kind of locked in and stuck at a range that's close, but not quite close enough. If you're shooting professionally, I mean, we're talking about most of these lenses that are being used professionally are between 200 to 400 fixed prime lenses. So at 105, it's just a little bit short, even though it's still gonna be good in low light, even though it can still be used, it's gonna be on that range. Now granted, as we step into these next generation of cameras that are gonna be a bajillion megapixels, you could take a shot on a 24mm and zoom all the way in and have plenty of detail. And at that point, maybe you'd use this for sports, I don't know. But still, right now, events, journalism, again, not really designed for that. I'd still go to my 7200, quicker to focus, not as good in low light, but it's gonna get me the compositions and the shots that I need versus, it gets you what you need. Not always what you want, but it's what you need. Next thing, listen, I dig what Sigma has done for our industry. They have entered these ridiculous quality lenses into our field at a price point that's just significantly better, okay? But there are some things that I've noticed, like for example, most of the lenses do require more AF adjustments, like micro calibration, to get them to shoot sharp through our camera bodies. So the simplest way and workaround that I found that really just bypasses this altogether is to utilize cameras that have some sort of live view or pixel-based focusing system. So example, a 5D4, which came out quite a few years ago, has this pixel-based focusing system where it's making sure the pixel is sharp, and it kind of bypasses that whole AF micro adjustment thing anyway. But if we switch over to the viewfinder, you might find that your hitters and missers are gonna be, those are words I'm making up. You might find that you're gonna get less hits out of 100 and you're gonna need to calibrate a little bit more often. The good news is that most every modern DSLR has either live view or pixel-based focusing systems automatically built in. If you're Sony, everything, it's already there, and this really alleviates all of those issues altogether. Till you put the viewfinder back up to your eye. But just don't do that. Just look like this. Nobody, this is completely professional. We all do it. Let's wrap this up, and in summary, I would say that the Sigma 105 Art is gonna replace the 85 focal length in my bag. It's an incredible portrait lens, at the price point, it comes in at a good value considering what other lenses are there that can actually compete with this. So if you're down for the wait, you got room in the budget, you can't go wrong with this guy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Let us know what you guys would like to see in the future. And also, we have some incredible Facebook groups. They're completely free to join. So if you want to learn more about lighting, join Master Lighting, and it includes, flash and natural light on Facebook. We also have Master Engagement and Wedding Photography. We also have Mastering the Business of Photography. These 3 groups are chock full of just incredible talent. They're led by amazing educational ambassadors, and they're completely free to join, and everyone's there to help you out. They're the most positive and uplifting place you're gonna find. My name is Pi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.